Alright guys, so a quick one before we move forward. So sometimes you might find yourself needing to convert from one variable to the other. So and of course each variable have a data type. So when you want to convert from a variable to another, or when you want to convert a variable that is of a data type, or a value of that is of a data type to another. So how do you do this? For example, remember I told you that the date time is usually have an integer equivalent, but the moment you specify date, so let's say I specify date time, okay, so let me say expiration date, something like this. So you are meant to get something like 2020 6, let's say 5, let's say 5, then should we specify the time? Okay, let's specify the time, this, let's leave it seconds. So now after specifying this, let's try to print this out, right? So this, you can see date expiration dates, right? So I'll try to save and compile, right? So you can see we have no error. So I will launch. You can see this is it. It's giving me in form of date time, which it is meant to do. Now, what if I need the value in an integer form? I need the integer equivalent. So you might have guessed, right? So one way of doing it is just by saying my date. I can just give it another variable and I will just assign it. So since I know that this data type we only store its value in form of an integer, so automatically I'm telling you that please convert my date to an integer, but that's not ideal. So now then I can print this. Okay, let me just delete this. So I can just print this. So I'll save and I'll compile, you know. So let me launch. You can see it is giving me the number equivalent, right? So another thing is, instead of doing this, right? Instead of doing this, what I can do is I can say I can still print this, but at the same time I will just specify this in a round bracket, right? So I'll just specify that please convert this particular variable to an integer, so that is what it means. So I can save and I'll compile, right? And it is going to give me an integer equivalent, also, instead of just forcefully um assigning this time to this integer. So what I can also do is I can also do this. I can also do this, and I'll be able to print the date, and it's still going to give me the integer equivalent, right? So I'll just save and I'll compile. Oops. Okay, so I'll save and compile. So you can see that my warning is gone. Before I did not add this, but of course it's notice that yes, I'm trying to convert from date time to integer. So before I did not have this. So I'll save and compile. You can see I have this warning telling me that possible loss of data. Yes, it is still correct, but I'm having some warning. So to avoid this kind of warning, you can just specify that please, I have this date time value that I want to convert to integer equivalent, right? So that is typecasting. So not just this, you're not limited to just this. So let's say you want to convert, maybe you want to say time, okay, date, okay, let's say dt, whatever. So I'm just trying to avoid this. So you can say you want to get the string equivalent, right? So what you can do is you can say in brackets string, now if you are to print this, it's going to give us the string equivalent, but you might not be able to sense the difference though. But you can see it is giving us a string equivalent. So this particular variable is in string. So when you want to convert from one data type to the other, what you need to do is specify the data type that you want to convert to in curly brace. I mean in a round bracket, just like this. So that is that. So let's assume I have a boolean. Maybe I have this. Let's say is US citizen. So instead of just specifying instead of specifying true or false, let's say maybe your value, you are expecting a value in 0 form, or in 1. So yes, you can do this. Oops, I did not spell this very well. So let's say you can do this, right? So let's try that. But at the same time, what you can do is you can say, get me the boolean equivalent, convert this to boolean. So that is another thing you can do, and that is typecasting. So when you want to convert from one when you want to convert a variable or a value that have a particular data type, when you want to convert it to another data type, right? So all you need to do is specify the data type in a bracket in front of that value that, or in front of the variable that you wish to convert from, right? So that is simply typecasting, this which is converting from one data type to another data type. So that is typecasting. I'll see you on the next lecture.